Hey everyone, and welcome to New York City's Rockefeller Center. We're going to be walking from 30 Rock all the way up to Central Park South and over to 59th Street Columbus Circle. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're right on New York City's famous Fifth Avenue today. Lots of people out. It is Labor Day weekend, and we're going to be exploring all of what Midtown Manhattan has to offer on the weekend that sort of acts as the last hoorah of summer. I also want to take you real quick to see the exact spot where they leave the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. It sounds crazy, but before you know it, we're going to be talking about the Christmas tree at 30 Rock. On the last few walking tours, we've been talking about the Metropolitan Club, Sutton Place, as well as Beekman Place. And the Rockefeller family definitely had a lot to do with all three of those locations. Here you can see John D. Rockefeller Jr., 1874 to 1960, the founder of Rockefeller Center. J.P. Morgan was the main founder of the Metropolitan Club, as well as the Vanderbilts. The Metropolitan Club is quite nice. It sits right next to the Pierre Hotel on Fifth Avenue. Over the years, there's been much renovation to Rockefeller Center. If you ever get the opportunity to go inside Rockefeller Center, particularly in the basement, it's called Under 30 Rock Dining and Shopping. They've just done a fantastic job with it. All brand new, but they've kept the original Art Deco style intact. Right down here is where you would have the ice skating rink during the holidays. And then looking up here, you can see the spire of 53 West 53rd Street, which is the Billionaires Row-esque building that we talked about in our last walking tour. The French architect Jean Nouvel really helped pioneer that project. Now, last year during the summer here at Rockefeller Center, in replacement of the ice skating rink, they put a roller rink, but this summer there is no roller rink. It's just kind of a nice area to sit down, relax. They have a full bar. You can get drinks and kind of sit down and enjoy the beautiful Rockefeller Center fountain. It was quite nice last year, though, because they had all 1980s music, like disco music, and people were able to rent roller skates and kind of roller skate around. Here's another bird's eye view overlooking the main concourse. They did a really nice job. And pretty soon we're going to have the main ice skating rink here. Here you have the FAO Schwartz. In the building just off to our left, this is where they filmed the Today Show. But the actual office building has been vacant for some time. In which case they're going to do a complete renovation and there's going to be a very luxurious hotel that takes its place. So right in this building here, this is the corner of West 49th Street and Rockefeller Plaza. I forget the name of the hotel, but it's going to be I think one of the main hotels in Aspen. Yeah, I believe one of the main hotels in Aspen. You could look it up, but it's going to go right in here. They're trying to maximize the occupancy because the office vacancy was quite high. So to repurpose this space as an attraction for tourists is definitely a better bet. This is the FAO Schwartz. It's crazy to see that there's a line, and a pretty big line, right outside the FAO Schwartz here too. We'll walk directly in front of 30 Rockefeller Plaza here, just so you can see all of the beautiful Art Deco detail on the building. It's really quite striking when you look at it. Those are the main revolving doors, which will bring you inside Rockefeller Center. But check out that beautiful Art Deco detail here. Going all the way up the building. I've always said my favorite observation deck in New York City is the top of the Rock, or the top of Rockefeller Center. And the reason why I say that is because one of the most iconic views of the Empire State Building can be seen from the top of the Rock. The top of the Empire State Building, you obviously can't view the Empire State Building, right? And I think the most iconic kind of New York shot is looking at the Empire State Building. What you're looking at right here is the emblem in the ground. This is the exact location where they put the Christmas tree. Pretty soon we'll be having that Christmas tree right here. You can see Christmas tree Rockefeller Center. This is the exact spot where it lies. We're now going to get on 50th Street and we'll make a left and go to 6th Avenue or Avenue of the Americas, in which case we'll head all the way up to 59th Street, Central Park South, and check out a few of the notable hotels that are along Central Park South, as well as some of the notable buildings. I've always said my favorite neighborhood, if I could pick to live anywhere in New York City, if money wasn't an issue, it would definitely be Central Park South. The Central Park South neighborhood is really wonderful. There's nothing like waking up and having Central Park as your backyard. It's really kind of a special experience. My previous apartment was at 106 Central Park South. It was a great building, and I had the only studio apartment in the building with the Central Park view. So you would overlook Manhattan's Upper East Side. It was really quite nice. And at the time, I was able to get a really good deal on that unit because this is when the pandemic was really hammering the city, and a lot of people were scared. If you remember correctly, many people were fleeing New York And there was a mini flash crash in the New York City real estate market and in the rental market too. So I was able to get that place. I believe I was paying right around $2,200 a month for that studio with the Central Park view, right at 106 Central Park South. That same exact unit now is going well north of $3,500 a month.
Oh, okay. Nice. What do you do? I work for a software company. So I'm American.
Just off to your right, you have Radio City Music Hall. One of my favorite performances to see here are the Rockettes during the holidays. Now, 106 Central Park South is actually one of the few condo buildings that line Central Park South. Another really good building that's a co-op is 200 Central Park South. It's a very unique building with a very unique facade. And you have these sweeping wraparound balconies. It's really quite a nice building. In my perspective, kind of doing just an overall assessment of some of the most popular neighborhoods in Manhattan. It'll bring you to the West Village, Tribeca, and even Soho. But in my view, the problem with some of those neighborhoods is that there's really no green space. So you kind of feel landlocked. And I think living in a major city like New York with the hustle and bustle, things tend to get a little bit crazy. It's nice to have Central Park as your backyard, as a place to decompress of sorts. That's why I believe any real estate that sits from 57th Street in between 5th Avenue and 8th Avenue up to 59th Street, I think will always retain its value just based upon its close proximity to Central Park. You could probably even extend that up into the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side into the 60s. Obviously on the Upper West Side, you'll have Lincoln Center, which is great. There's another shot looking downtown. This restaurant across the street, Avra, is quite nice. All along Avenue of the Americas, 6th Avenue, there's a lot of the major investment banks, like you have UBS, also a lot of wealth managers, money managers are here, big law firms. You have Neuberger Berman, which we're about to pass here in a moment. You also have Mizuho, which is a Japanese investment bank. And if you were to cross over to 7th Avenue, you'll have the BNP Paribas, which you can see the building right here. An interesting fact about this building, it's the gray building, you can see a little bit of a sliver there. There was a helicopter crash on the roof of that building. I believe this was maybe perhaps 2016? I forget the exact year, but there was a unfortunate helicopter crash on the roof of that building. I remember because at the time I was working at 1166 Avenue of the Americas. Here you have 1290 6th Avenue. This is the Neuberger Berman. I really like the look of the lobby here. Pretty much the entire thing is cloaked in this white marble. It's beautiful, isn't it? And then right across the street, you have UBS. We're now on the corner of 52nd Street and Avenue of the Americas. This is really the main parade route for Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Coming up over the next week, I'm going to be filming an entire walking tour tracking the exact route of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So just in case maybe you're visiting New York City over the holidays, you'll know exactly where to go. Here you have a really unique shot of Steinway Tower, 111 West 57th Street. This sits on the site of the old Steinway Piano Company, and the building with the gold top right below it is 106 Central Park South. This building right off to the right is Charles Schwab, the main broker dealer. There's a really good book on Charles Schwab that you should read. It's a very inspiring story about how Charles Schwab created the firm, starting in the early days in San Francisco. Here you can see the main sign here. Now, I've always said, if you do a post-analysis on some of the market's biggest winners, Charles Schwab, ticker symbol SCHW, is one of the market's biggest winners in terms of a percentage gain of the stock since its IPO. And one of the greatest kind of macro position traders of all time, William J. O'Neill, that was one of his most winningest positions, was in Charles Schwab. He made a fortune in Charles Schwab. And I wrote a piece maybe about 9 months ago, and I said the Gen Z's generation of Charles Schwab is Robinhood. If you think about market disruptors, right? Charles Schwab was really the first discount broker that helped drive commissions near zero on Wall Street. Many people think that Robinhood started the trend of having commissions trend towards zero, but it was really companies like Charles Schwab, very aggressive, very gritty, discount brokers, so to speak. And I think our generation's Charles Schwab is going to be Robinhood Markets, ticker symbol HOOD. And the reason why I think that is because not only the zero cost free trading, right, which is really presented by payment for order flow. Many people were very upset during the whole GameStop debacle at Citadel Securities and Robinhood. But the fact of the matter is you would not have commission-free trading if it wasn't for payment for order flow. I mean, these people have to make money somehow, And I think payment for order flow is actually very good for an efficient market. It makes markets accessible to a lot of people, and it creates more liquidity in the market. You know, if Citadel or, you know, these big quant firms like Jane Street are going to scrape a couple pennies from me on my fill, that's not the reason why I'm losing money in the market, right? I would much rather pay $0 in commissions than go back to how it was in the olden days where, you know, you were paying a couple points on a commission, right? In any event, I think that Robinhood, not to go off on too much of a tangent, is going to be, well, they already are at a first mover advantage in the cryptocurrency markets and in the prediction markets, such as like sports betting and the like. Lastly, the tokenization of securities is going to be absolutely massive. I see a time in the future when you're actually going to be able to trade real estate assets, and you'll probably be able to buy and sell your own house on platforms like Robinhood with this tokenization technology. So lean into the future. Robinhood is attracting all of the Gen Z and millennial clients. Here we have a beautiful shot of 432 Park Avenue. But the last thing I'll kind of say about that is you have to think about who is going to be inheriting the money. And it's the young people, right? All of the baby boomers are about to pass on their wealth to millennials and Gen Z. And if you ever talk to somebody that was a millennial or a part of the Generation Z, they are digital first and they are digital focused. They don't carry around cash. They use Apple Pay for everything. They're on social media all the time. They live in a digital world. So if you don't think for a second that they're going to invest accordingly, hint, hint, in digital assets, I think you're mistaken. So I believe Vanguard, as Vanguard came out and said, we're not going to offer our clients the ability to purchase digital assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the like, just because it's not part of our founding values. I think that's a big mistake, because that's what the young people want, and the young people are about to get or be the beneficiaries of the greatest wealth transfer of our time. So the firms, the broker-dealers, and the financial institutions that are building out a platform for a digital future are going to acquire and attract all of that AUM, or assets under management. And that is exactly what has happened, and I think will continue to happen at Robinhood. So a cryptocurrency, digital asset first native platform, a beautiful user interface, beautiful software UI, and catering towards the next generation of investors, millennials, Gen Z, and the like. That is why I think if you kind of look back on this video 20 years from now, Robinhood will probably follow the same exact trajectory of Charles Schwab since IPO. And I think it'll be one of the most winningest stocks of at least our generation, in my view. In any event, definitely check out that book. Let me see if I can get the name of it for you. Charles Schwab book. Here it is. My phone's about to die, but spam ad called Invested by Charles Schwab. It's a fantastic book. Okay, we are now on West 56th Street and Avenue of the Americas.
Maybe he knew that something.
Oh, the last thing I'll say about that, just because this week in Barron's, if you look at the cover story of Barron's this weekend, it was all about Ken Griffin and how he built Citadel Securities, as well as Citadel LLC. So for those of you who don't know, Ken Griffin is the wealthiest hedge fund manager on the planet, and the CEO and founder of both Citadel LLC, which is the hedge fund, and Citadel Securities, which is the market-making business. And in this piece, they highlighted an interesting quote by Ken Griffin that really resonated with me. And Ken Griffin said, you know, when we were starting out building Citadel, we didn't aim to kind of compete with the major financial firms and investment banks. What we aimed to do was position ourselves for the future, so when the future arrived, we were best positioned in front of legacy companies. And that really made me think of Robinhood. So Citadel, obviously with their high frequency trading and market making, they were really one of the first kind of mover advantage to that. And if you look at the history of Citadel, they actually failed at their investment banking business, right? Because in the investment banking business, you have to go up against all the legacy players, like Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley. But at the first mover advantage of high frequency trading and algorithmic trading, not a lot of big legacy firms on the street were doing that. So they saw where the puck was going, theoretically, and they got there before the industry. And I think that's exactly what Robinhood is doing. So I think that's a good life lesson. You know, don't try to disrupt an existing business. Try to understand where the world is moving to, where the market is moving to, and position yourself and build products and services to be ahead of those legacy players. So when the world does change and adapt and get there, you're already positioned to service those customers. We're now on New York City's Billionaires Row. This is the corner of West 57th Street and 6th Avenue. I always really like this view looking eastbound. You have 432 Park Avenue, and then you have the Crown Building right there. You have the Quinn Hilton Club Hotel right here. And this building coming up is 111 West 57th Street. And they finally filled the main retail with the auction house, which is similar to what 432 Park Avenue has done. They've filled their retail with an auction house as well. But there you can see Steinway Tower, the skinniest residential apartment building in the world. And here's the original Steinway Hall building. Look at how beautiful this looks. You can see the original Steinway and Sons piano logo here. We have Steinway Hall. This is Steinway Hall was constructed in 1924 through 1925. To the designs of Warren and Wetmore. It's pretty cool that this was the actual place where they would manufacture Steinway pianos. Very cool. And they just recently put this kind of overhang canopy here in front of the building. Across the street you have the Directors Guild of America. (110) West 57th Street.
Pigeons are gonna get
We'll now go back to the corner of 57th Street and 6th Avenue and make a left.
Now, if this is closed, I'm going to say we are
This is the 57th Street F train station.
They were born in 2017. My daughters were born in 2017.
Let's see if the main valet of the Steinway building is open. Sometimes they'll leave the garage door open, and it is a really beautiful roundabout in there. This is the corner of West 58th Street and Avenue of the Americas. We'll make this left. But this is the beautiful 106 Central Park South. I have a feeling it'll probably be closed, but it's worth taking a look anyway. So this is where all the vehicles would go. This is the Steinway & Sons driveway and delivery entrance. And you can see the building up there. So this will connect into the main building, but it's really stunning in here. You can kind of see some of the main light fixtures that will hang from the main garage. I'll have to check back here periodically, and if they do ever leave the garage door open, I'll be sure to get some footage. That's one of the great things about living on Billionaires Row is the exclusivity. You technically never even have to walk on the street because you could drive your car right here and nobody can see you because it's totally private. You could have your driver of sorts just drive right in, pick you up. You know what? I really want to show you the JW Marriott Essex house because they did a really great job with the renovation. Here you have a good shot of all the buildings on Billionaires Row. You can see 157 West 57th Street, Central Park Tower. Here you can see the original Steinway building a little better. So there you have the original Steinway building, and then on the same site you have the new one. And of course, right next to the JW Marriott Essex house is the New York Athletic Club. Maybe they've closed off the Essex house because of it's the United Nations week right after Labor Day weekend. You have all the major diplomats and politicians. And Joe Biden, when he was president, he would stay right here at the Essex house. Here's a better look at 157. But yeah, you could tell all the diplomats and things like that are here. Oftentimes they'll even close off 58th Street because you have the back entrance to the Park Hyatt. So 157 West 57th Street, this was the first building constructed on New York City's Billionaires Row. And you have the residences, but you also have the Park Hyatt New York. And then this is the back entrance to the Essex house. And then you have the stunning Alwyn Court. I'm going to cross the street and get a little bit closer to Alwyn Court so you can see it. Just because this is unbelievably stunning, the building. And you'll see why in a moment. mean, look at this. So much detail up the entire side of the building. And you have that juxtaposition in architecture from Central Park Tower, which is the tallest building on Billionaires Row at 1,550 feet. It's really amazing, isn't it? You can see the architecture a little bit better. Every time you look at this building, you can see something different. You see the two dragons right there. Very cool.
You guys want to send you down the line? Sir, you want to ride it down? We give you a fixed price.
Here we're walking right by the New York Athletic Club. And the building to our left is 200 Central Park South, which is a co-op.
We were here 2 weeks ago, right? Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago?
What's up, baby?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, then try. Okay, makes sense. Try like the hair, is it like is try like cheaper than that? It is?
Oh, wait. It's so cheap.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not. Like it's so. Is it like?
No, we were Carolina. You're bringing US dollars.
No. You understand? Like everyone knows that right now. Like shareholders. Exact same price.
Then there's no way Shanghai is doing something.
Right, here we are, right in front of the New York Athletic Club. Unfortunately, you have all this scaffolding. But right across the street is Central Park. Here you're looking over to Columbus Circle, the Deutsche Bank Center, 1 Central Park West, and then the Limestone Jesus Building, which is 15 Central Park West. That's one of the most coveted buildings in all of New York City that was developed by the Zeckendorf developers. Sometimes you'll see eagles, and even bald eagles, that perch on top of the scaffolding at the New York Athletic Club, and photographers will kind of set up shop across the street. This is the Essex house that just went under a major renovation. Hello. And they just recently put a new bourbon steak inside the lobby as well. course, all beautiful Art Deco design.
Acá, mírame, mira. Mira dónde está la moto, luego la moto.
It's very elegant, kind of old money New York. Love the moldings on the ceiling. Fabergé eggs. And then this is the executive lounge, which they used to have in the other room. So you have breakfast Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 11. I've been here for the evening desserts, and it's pretty unbelievable. This was maybe 2 years ago. But this is one of the most stunning hotels inside. Just like the detail, everything is so well done. And remember, they just completed this renovation, so the old restaurant they had is now out. And they have the new bourbon steak. It's a very elegant hotel, very elegant.
Maybe it's wait for the room, but I don't know that. I can guarantee that. So I'd rather you have it in your car.
So there was no market, so the machine can get the other person.
I think this is really my style. Okay, and we'll head right back out to Central Park South. I'll show you the menu at the bourbon steak. It's actually very good. And it looks like they have a little bit of outdoor seating now too. It's quite nice that they made outdoor dining here now. They didn't used to have this. And of course, 150 Central Park South is the Hampshire House. 2 days ago, we uploaded a property tour of 157 West 57th Street, Unit 35F. And if you watch that tour from the living room, you have these beautiful views looking right at the spire of the Hampshire House, as well as hovering right over the main sign of the Essex House. So you could check it out. We'll probably upload a standalone video of that property. I would say the Essex House sign as well as the Empire Hotel sign are two New York icons. But let me know what you think of the new interior of the Essex House. I think they did a really good job on the renovation. Sometimes they really botch the renovations, but they did a really good job on that. In the distance, you could see the Sherry Netherland Hotel, as well as the Pierre, and 520 Park Avenue. Another hotel that's going to be absolutely packed for the United Nations Week is 50 Central Park South, which is the Ritz Carlton Hotel and Residences. Here's my old building. Which is 106 Central Park South. And then you have 100 Central Park South right next door, which is a completely different building, but oftentimes they're confused for the same building. Now here is the Ritz Carlton Hotel and Residences. Usually the South Korean government will stay here during the UN General Assembly, I believe it is. It's a really, really beautiful building. It's gorgeous. And this is now the corner of West 57th Street, or Central Park South, 59th Street, excuse me, and Avenue of the Americas. Here's a shot of the front of 53 West 53rd Street. There's the Jean Nouvel building. always see the black cars and the town cars outside of the Ritz Carlton. This is a really nice shot here. You can see the main spire of 15 Central Park West.
I don't agree. Yeah, I don't agree.
I was like, two parties, good morning. My boundaries.
This is a very famous restaurant, Sarabeth's. You can dine inside or outside. And then you also have the Park Lane Hotel, which, just as we've explained for the JW Marriott Essex House, this also just went under renovation during the 2020 pandemic. And it is completely renovated on the inside.
Yeah, you look like, I don't know his name though.
这个车子还没好是吧？那么多时间。
Coming up, we're going to pass in front of 1 Central Park South, which is the residences to the Plaza Hotel. The side facing 5th Avenue is the side where you would check in if you're a guest at the Plaza. However, if you own a unit inside the Plaza Hotel, you would enter right on the Central Park South side. And it's really quite a stunning entrance too. You have these beautiful red carpets that go all the way up to the main revolving doors. This is the entrance to that oak room. Check out the detail here. Those Plaza logos. And as you can see, residents only here. 1 Central Park South. During the holidays, you have to either stay at the Plaza or just walk into the lobby and check it out, because it's unbelievable how they decorate it for the holidays. Now this is the main entrance to the hotel, where you have great views looking at the GM building, 432 Park Avenue. You can see Trump Tower to the right. But this building right here is the Four Seasons Hotel, right on 57th Street, Billionaires Row. And all of this kind of construction work that you see here is covering the soon-to-be brand new Grand Army Plaza. The city is going to get a brand new park right outside the plaza. But this building with that copper top is the Pierre, which is another 5-star hotel in Manhattan that was converted into a co-op in the 1950s. Wow, check out all the scaffolding. There's even more scaffolding now on the Sherry Netherland. That's crazy. And now we're back on New York City's 5th Avenue by the Bergdorf Goodman. Now we're on the famous 5th Avenue. You can see all the windows at Bergdorf.
Never had to take that bus. I'll stop.
All right, everyone, if you enjoyed that walking tour of Midtown Manhattan at the start of Labor Day weekend, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, And as always, we will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.